Compared to some YouTubers, it's not a lot, but it's farther than most people get for sure. There was like definitely someone watching him, whoever they were. Can't imagine how they feel now. But regardless of the exact numbers, it was fairly clear he wouldn't really make much of a career out of this, and whether he was aware of that or not, he would go on to release a video in December 2020 where he went into some of the changes he would make on his channel. In this video, he would detail what his planned schedule for releasing videos would be in 2021, detailing how he would continue the various ongoing series on his channel from Minecraft to Fortnite to Among Us. Of course. Dun 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 dun. Da, da, da. Bow, bow. It would turn out that all these plans were pretty much irrelevant and didn't mean much of anything because our friend Wizard would actually quit YouTube for well over a year following the release of this video. But strangely, that video would go on to accrue over 5,000 views, and there's actually a significant number of comments that seem genuinely miffed that Wizard hadn't uploaded any videos he'd promised, asking if he would be coming back to YouTube anytime soon. Wizard would respond to some of these, saying he simply doesn't have the motivation to carry on with it at the moment. For most fledgling creators, this would be the point where they fade into complete obscurity, simply forgotten, like the millions of other hopefuls who had attempted to make an online career and just didn't have the dedication and hard work to put into it. But Gabe, it would seem, had different plans. At some point in 2021, Gabe would join TikTok under a name that we would all come to know and love, Nova Online. While it's not exactly clear when the channel was made, it would upload scattered videos throughout the year, with videos such as this one, where he decries the poor reputation of his home state, Idaho, going on to do pretty well views-wise, although it isn't quite clear whether the video would gain these views before or after his big break. Some other amusing examples would include a video released shortly after Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine, which, if you remember, saw an unprecedented number of influencers throwing their lot in with Ukraine by doing the most helpful thing they could, which was TikTok dances and lip syncs. There's no better way to support the effort, boys. As it happens, Nova spoke out in outrage against the Russian government by lip syncing a song. So beautiful. Putin is shaking in his boots. However, more so than asking where his channel began, perhaps the more interesting question to answer is when exactly he went from being a nobody to entering the public spotlight. That date would be the 25th of July, 2022, accompanied by the release of his most viewed video to date.
Trying Wingstop for the first time. Cajun seasoned fries. Okay. Mildly spicy, but nothing that I can't bear. These are actually pretty decent. 8 out of 10.
As you can see, the video shows Nova trying out some delicious fast food items, giving a numerical rating for them. It's frankly quite unremarkable, and I'd even go as far as to say it's a pretty poor review. But let's be honest here, you can already tell why the video got so popular, and it's not because of what he had to say. The man looks like the quintessential Discord mod within it, a fact that's very well recognized by pretty much everyone in the comment section, which contains about 90% mockery and 10% trying to feel bad for him while also acknowledging that the mockery is kind of funny. But the method of how it got popular does not really matter. What does matter are the numbers. The video sits at 9 million views as of now. This alone would catapult Nova to heights that he had never really even dreamed of before. As for the first time in 2 years, it seemed like he may actually have a shot at an online career, or maybe more accurately, some kind of niche internet micro-celebrity following, because let's be real, 9 million views on TikTok may as well be 9 people in front of you calling you stupid. Quickly, Nova would capitalize on this opportunity, releasing a number of videos following his breakout success. This would include more food review videos, where he looked about as humorous as he had in the original.
Trying Taco Bell breakfast. Cheesy grilled burrito with sausage. I take my jacket off because it was getting hot. This is very good. 8 out of 10.
While not quite as successful as the last one, it had pretty much all the ingredients of the last, down to Nova's utterly cringe-worthy disposition, as he truly earns his name as a Discord mod when he shows off his extremely extravagant and just cute Sailor Moon outfit.
Spirits be gone from this house.
A few days after this video was released, Nova would upload yet another food review, although it should perhaps be described as a drink review, where he gives his opinion on an orange-flavored Monster Energy drink. Notably, he actually filmed this one outside of his room, remarkably filming himself in the middle of his church, telling us that he's there for Bible camp while filming it.
Trying Ultra Sunrise Monster Energy, and if you're wondering why I'm not at home, I'm at my church for Bible camp. We're just waiting to board a bus to go to Cusick. So, we're trying Ultra Sunrise Monster Energy in the morning before we go. It's 7:46 a.m. First impressions. Smells like orange juice. Alright, cheers. And that's kind of what it tastes like. Like, this tastes like orange juice with a hint of tangerines. It's actually pretty good. I'll give it an 8 out of 10, just because it's not as good as Ultra Blue. Anyways, download use code WIZARD for 2 times running buzz. You might not see me for 4 days.
This video would actually go on to beat his original breakout success, attaining a respectable 11.7 million views across his lifetime. It would also further solidify Nova's reputation as a Class A cringe lord, getting consistently and ruthlessly mocked in the comment section again. Cringiness aside, though, you really can't argue with the numbers, and while Nova would never really reach these heights of success ever again, he would go on to gain quite a respectable following on TikTok, getting around 250,000 followers by January 2023. While not monumental for a site like TikTok, it's nonetheless pretty noteworthy. At the same time he was gaining popularity on TikTok, Nova decided to give another shot to his YouTube channel, where he began releasing videos again. The first video following his 1.5-year long hiatus was a Beat Saber video on September 29. However, even though he had well over 180,000 followers on TikTok at this point, it seems that success didn't quite translate to YouTube, and to be honest, it pretty much never does. Like, if you see a TikToker and you see how many millions of followers they have, you go to their YouTube, they probably have like 500 subscribers. Embarrassing! But yeah, his success from TikTok, success quote unquote, didn't really translate that well, and he would remain pretty much unknown. This video in particular barely got over 200 views, and the ones that came after did a little over 1,000 views at the very best, very best. However, while we've been talking about his public persona, the one he's so far shown to hundreds of thousands of people, what's perhaps even more interesting is the story that was unfolding behind the scenes while he was blowing up. Take a look at his TikTok bio. You'll be linked to his solo.to account, where he links to all the platforms he's on. It's like a link tree or whatever, that kind of thing. The one that we really need to focus on, though, is Discord, and in particular his personal Discord server called Novine Universe. While humble enough, it would lead to Nova being exposed for some of the most revolting things you can imagine. I don't think you guys are going to be shocked to learn that the LCP stuff is coming back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we won! The kid did not win at all, though. I mean, yeah, they just didn't win straight up. I don't know what else I can say. Things started to get rough in late 2022 when rumors about the goings-on in the server started to circulate on TikTok, most of which was shared by dozens of smaller channels who were reporting on it, I guess. This is the Vice, okay? The Anderson Cooper of TikTok. This included a plethora of some very creepy photos and videos, including pictures of him with a pacifier in his mouth, which is, I wish I could say that's the first time I've seen that before, but shout out Cyrus on YouTube. I guess I have seen that before. Straight fire right there, okay, guys? Keep pacifying yourselves. Sometimes you just need to be pacified. I understand. I get it. Sometimes you gotta go baby mode. I'm baby maxing right now, guys. I'm baby maxing. There were also screenshots of him saying some pretty gross things, and people were alleging that it was to people who were not of age. Screenshots of him defending himself from claims of being a PDF file. Pictures of this man wearing diapers, which, once again, not the first time I've seen it, but gotta say he pulls it off pretty well. Good guy, good physique. He's been going to the gym. I can tell. And even a supposed hypnosis kink Discord server that he was a member of, which not the first time, but not as often as you would think, considering that people are into way weirder. I feel like that should be kind of a lower bar, but no, that one's a rare one. You said you just get feet and like obese furries. Those are the two ones, or war, I guess. But perhaps the worst of all the pieces of evidence that people released is a recorded video of him talking in a baby voice and a video of him allegedly calling with whom he believes to be a 14-year-old. Keep in mind he was 18 when it was being filmed, so I mean probably a little bit much.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
This is so great.
Aww.
I love your singing voice.
As I'm sure most of you would expect, these leaks led to monumental backlash against Nova, who was quick to jump to his own defense during an irate stream, which has since then become almost iconic for his channel. Besides screaming incoherently, one of his most ardent defenses was that these screenshots had been entirely falsified, calling all of the detractors jobless trolls, which, I mean, I've never heard that before.
Being on small TikTokers just trying to be fun, but all you want to do is falsely accuse them of crap they never did. Y'all are being legitimate assholes. Have you ever seen an episode of Darman?
Oh, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
You did so great.
Aww.
I love your singing voice.
As I'm sure most of you would expect, these leaks led to monumental backlash against Nova, who was quick to jump to his own defense during an irate stream, which has since then become almost iconic for his channel. Besides screaming incoherently, one of his most ardent defenses was that these screenshots had been entirely falsified, calling all of the detractors jobless trolls, which, I mean, I've never heard that before.
Being on small TikTokers just trying to be fun, but all you want to do is falsely accuse them of crap they never did. Y'all are being legitimate assholes. Have you ever seen an episode of Darman?
Hey.
Jumped to his own defense during an irate stream. Defenses was that these screenshots had been entirely falsified, calling all of the detractors jobless trolls, which, I mean, I've never heard that before.
Being on small TikTokers just trying to be fun, but all you want to do is falsely accuse them of crap they never did. Small TikTokers just trying to be fun, but all you want to do is falsely accuse them of crap they never did. Y'all are being legitimate assholes. Have you ever seen an episode of Darman? You would know to not be an asshole to people you don't know nothing about. Don't judge people before you get to know them. Proof my ass, it's all photoshopped. It's been proven. You're in timeout for like 5 minutes. Then I'll turn back on speaking privileges. Maybe. Now you better effing behave. You guys need to get a job instead of wasting your fat asses on small TikTokers. Those are clearly effing photoshopped. And if I can, I'll get my effing lawyers into this. You guys have no effing father. This is you, and this end is me. Gah!
But no matter how hard he tries to deny it, there was nothing he could do to prevent the wave of criticism and mockery, not least of all because he refused to actually address it head on. And I mean, if you think about it realistically, a big part of the reason this guy was getting so much was because he was supposedly messaging, people who are too young, and he looks, like he looks, right? There's no denying that. Dozens of different TikTok accounts began to pop up dedicated to mocking Nova, with some of them garnering thousands of followers in their own right. The backlash became so pronounced that it ended up affecting his actual daily life. Do you remember that church he filmed a TikTok in a couple minutes ago that we showed? Well, as it happens, this church was one of the few places this man would ever willingly go outside to, go to do something outside of his room. To touch grass, if you will. But after the drama that began circulating around this time, that same church would report him to the authorities and eventually kick him out completely.
This is someone exposing Nova to this church, which ultimately will lead to Nova's biggest meltdown. Nova ultimately does make statements to the accusations of him being a but there's nothing he can do because there's full-blown video proof of him being a predator.
This led to perhaps the most legendary singular moment of his career, when during yet another live stream, Nova would go on to decry all of his so-called haters and trolls, doing so in the manliest way he could possibly muster.
I'm at my breaking point. You're effing trolls who have nothing else better to do! You guys have anything else better to do than check out your fat asses and eat your toxic universe!
So much testosterone oozing from this video. I mean, Jesus, guys. Are you getting insecure? Because I know I am. Actually am. I think I need to get my T levels checked. I am gay. The meltdown, as it turns out, only further fueled the hate machine, which at this point only kept getting more pronounced. Most of the information began to be proliferated by these smaller channels. Outside of TikTok, though, the response to him was relatively muted for the time being. And even on TikTok, he continued to grow steadily off the back of his cringeworthy antics. People at this point were not following him just for his cringe appearance. They were following him for the drama. They were following to see what would happen next, what the next freak out would be, the next time he would call people jobless losers, whatever it may be. They were in for the ride. But the trolling never stopped, despite him going through some truly Herculean efforts to give these people entertainment. With all this troll feeding, their attacks against Nova only grew more pronounced, leading to his Discord server, his last place of refuge online, to be raided on several occasions, which persists even to this day. Still, for the moment, it didn't seem like it would carry on for that much longer. Among these supposed trolls, there was one who arguably earned a spot as the one person who managed to get under Nova's skin the deepest. That man's name is Skoldger. While seemingly not much different from all the other people dedicated to trying to take Nova down, Skoldger, it seems, is actually one of the primary sources for a lot of the information. For more reasons than one. 2021. He personally took part in raiding Nova's Discord server multiple times, with screenshots available on the Discord itself showing he would have been there at least since November, and it seems he's so infamous on Nova's server that he has his own sort of spot in his personal Hall of Fame. This campaign led to a few interesting developments as far as trolling and some cringe content being produced, but it was also around this time that Nova was fully doxxed and people discovered his real name, his address, and basically all the information that they were looking for in the first place. Understandably, this caused poor Nova to go off the deep end even harder and basically start having hissy fits every single day. In fairness, getting doxxed is scary, so I don't entirely blame him, but I feel like at this point he probably should have just left the internet if he was in his right state of mind, but I would argue he's clearly not, and clearly there are not people around him stopping him, which is how he ended up this deep in like TikTok lolcow drama lore in the first place. Like, bro, just stop using the fucking phone. Get off the phone. You know that Tyler the Creator tweet? That's literally real. That is real, and nobody knows it, but that is so real.
It's so real on Bono.
Tax. Another pretty interesting tidbit is a series of tweets made by a girl who claims to have been in choir with Nova back in middle school. She does not provide a name, but she does provide a rather vivid description of the kinds of experiences that her and other choir members had allegedly been subjected to. Allegedly. We don't even know if this girl really knew him. She speaks about how Nova would make some very weird advances on a lot of the girls there, actually rating them in real life to their faces, and just saying all kinds of very off-kilter things that you wouldn't want to say in person to someone. In particular, she recalls this one time when Nova serenaded her with a very sexual song back when she was 12, and he was around the same age. It's definitely weird, but we all do cringy things in our past. You definitely can't hold that against him forever, but given how he is now, you can kind of see the through line, I would say. It should be pointed out, though, that once again, I can speculate all I want on this little piece of information, but there's absolutely no proof provided here that she even knew him. She might have spoken the truth, but there's really no way to confirm it, so I urge you all to take this testimony with a hefty serving of salt.
Why do I sound like that? Am I sounding different lately? I think I'm speaking different, acting different maybe.
Acting different.
Still, it paints an interesting picture, one that is very consistent with how he is today. But unfortunately, things would only get worse from here for our beloved blobfish, when his behavior caught the ire of the commentary scene on YouTube. While Nova had seen some attention on YouTube, mostly from people making compilations of some of his most epic moments, this whole PDF file drama didn't blow up until around December 2022, a few months after the first pieces of evidence started popping up here and there. The first proper YouTuber to have made a video on the topic was Underflow, with his video titled Exposing TikTok's Worst Predator, Nova. This 8-minute long video mainly focuses on detailing all of the pieces of evidence that I've already shown you, from screenshots to the videos to his outbursts and him being kicked out of the church as well. It's not a super revolutionary video by any means, but it does give people the bare minimum information that they need. But after that, it would be a while before the topic really picked up on YouTube. Instead, it was relegated to TikTok, where the negative response to Nova never really lost any of its edge, and you actually had some slightly larger TikTok creators hopping on the trend, including Jeeber Commentary. As you'd expect, some of the Nova Online heavy hitters like Scoldger, Nophiastan, and Liquid_Nova3 would continue to share both troll videos and little updates on Nova, which also included his Reddit page, which, by the way, doesn't seem to exist anymore as of the time I'm recording this video, at least. For this next part, we're going to have to introduce you to a rather controversial little YouTube creator called Hiroshi Man. If you've been on YouTube long enough, you probably remember the Logan Paul controversy from 2018 when he went to the forest in Japan and filmed a guy who was just hanging out, just chilling out, just having a good time. Well, Logan got into a lot of hot water around that time from the media, from YouTubers, commentary channels. I mean, pretty much everybody declared Logan Paul as enemy #1 that day for, a few months. He was probably the most hated YouTuber ever for a few months right there. And this also led to some of his most supportive fans coming out in defense of him. To us, only one of these fans is going to really matter.
If I'm a Japanese maverick, I deserve to have a platform. And the guy who died should be lucky to be in Logan Paul's vlogs.
This young gentleman, calling himself Hiroshi Man, would go on to be the founder of this channel, putting on a very eclectic selection of content, from a podcast with Leafy to so-called animations, all the way to Mr. Beast-style competition videos, which includes the very first upload on his channel.
We are on a journey
to review
every e-girl
on www.e
egirl.gg.
However, perhaps the biggest draw of the whole channel was the animations, gaining the most attention and arguably having the most put into them. This includes a number of showings, including a series called Blackened, of which only one episode remains on the channel, and perhaps more importantly, a show that the channel's gotten its name from, Blacked the Anime, which according to IMDb is about a guy named Hiroshi Man befriending a 37-year-old named Greg, and how they go on a perilous journey to discover the true meaning of friendship. It sounds so wholesome, I just gotta watch it. As for the anime in question, it's a bit of a doozy. While most of the episodes are not actually available on his YouTube channel, and honestly I'm not too eager to seek them out for reasons that'll hopefully be very obvious to you in a second, the channel does contain at least one episode of the show, specifically installment number 9.
Finally, back to school. I hope nothing bad happens while I'm gone.
Aren't you going to tell me to stop? Don't think I won't do it. I've already messed up my life.
Are you talking to me?
Everyone knows I've said that word.
I have to go to class, weirdo.
At a super quick glance, you can tell that this is pretty much exactly what you would expect from the prior description. With the overuse of some rather outdated caricatures, shall we say, which is kind of Brody TV of you, actually. This anime would end up getting quite a bit of flack from people who basically deemed it a very racist portrayal of black people, which I mean, you know, for comedic effect or not, I guess that is what they were doing. A number of other complaints came down to it just being cringe or unfunny, and a lot of people pointed out that a lot of the actual animated shots seem to be traced from other already existing anime. Although I'm not sure what they were expecting for like a meme production anime made by like TikTokers who get in I'm Alex videos. I don't really know what you expected from the beginning, but whatever. This, along with pretty much every other video, animation or otherwise, was lambasted by YouTube viewers, getting some truly horrific like to dislike ratios on Hiroshi Man's channel, with pretty much the totality of the comment section being negative and giving everything from some constructive criticism to just plain straight up hatred. But despite being universally panned by practically everyone, the creator of the show seemed pretty proud of it, so much so that after his full run concluded, he would go on to announce that even more projects were in production, including a trailer for a movie called Fedora Monkey. Yeah, definitely very Brody TV of you, I would say. Best. The movie would turn out to be little more than a vlog with a couple of skits thrown in, and it had about the same horrible reception as the anime, which is like not that shocking, I guess, and an equally negative comment section. One of the commenters tactfully called the video like Mumpky Jones, but without any of the humor or wit. Now you might be starting to wonder why I'm even talking about this guy, why I've gone on this like tangent about this fucker, why he has anything to do with the protagonist, antagonist, main focus of this video, Nova Online. Well, to answer that question, we have to go to the end of 2022, with the announcement of yet another anime project simply titled Ohio the Anime. The eagle-eyed, super genius Harvard graduates among you may have noticed the rather conspicuous inclusion of at least two rather controversial online figures, one being the eponymous EDP445, and the second, of course, being Nova himself. At this point, not much is known about the project, other than the fact that the publishing rights were apparently purchased by Crunchyroll, a major anime streaming site. Bet that's fucking real, right? Yeah, that's definitely real, guys. Thank you. Good job. Thank you, internet. It's not real. The channel continued to release many shorts, in which he would continue to talk about the show, providing glimpses into the behind-the-scenes production. The Blacked the Anime TikTok channel would also release a continuous stream of content on the subject. But what we care about is the fact that Nova Online himself was given not just a speaking role as one of the main villains, but he was seemingly given a director's role as well. Yeah, we're definitely getting in pretty deep here. I think it's epic though.
Hello, this is the Ohio the Anime director. We would like to present the story for Ohio the Anime. The main character, Jamal, along with his class, travels into one of the most mysterious places in the world, also known as Ohio. He has to face enemies like me, Nova, and the Ohio President and Ohio Queen. Follow for more updates on Ohio the Anime. Me and my best friend Kyle is making an anime where I'm the main character. He's in prison and I'm the new leader. We offer products like manga and our own streaming service called Crunchyroll. Currently, we have an anime airing called Black the Anime.
Over the following weeks, more and more clips would be released on both YouTube and TikTok, with some of these frankly getting a bit silly as far as advertising is concerned.
Y'all, Ohio the Anime is real, y'all.
Ohio the Anime is real.
Ohio the anime is real.
Yo, Ohio the anime is real.
Ohio the Anime is real! All of our lives, we knew we existed in One Piece. We were parallel to that universe. So together, we all joined up in a little crew to make an anime.
One little fact that would often be repeated during advertising is that you could apply to be a voice actor in the show, and then you could, like, obviously have a chance to be on it. The suspicious thing, though, is that you allegedly had to pay to get that opportunity, as opposed to, you know, getting paid to voice act, which is certainly a unique combination, but obviously if you're trying to get into Ohio the Anime, you pay them, because their time is worth way more than yours. You peasants. The details here are a little murky, but what can be said with relative certainty is that as 2022 ended and as 2023 started, rumors that the whole thing was actually a scam began to bubble to the surface. First, it started with a creator on TikTok called That Guy, whose channel doesn't actually exist anymore. But from what we can surmise, he used to be a voice actor, and he would release a video about Ohio the Anime calling it a scam. Underflow would then release another video on January 10th, 2023. And in it, he calls out Hiroshi Man and Nova for effectively scamming people, especially in regards to receiving payments from people who wanted to voice act in the show. He breaks down how much it would cost a person to actually get on the show, with a minor appearance costing $20 and a major appearance, like a main character, costing $30 or $40. Given Nova and Hiroshi Man's story, Underflow spent a lot of time giving a scathing critique of them both, calling Nova a PDF file and calling Hiroshi Man a racist. This video ended up being quite successful, netting him over 200,000 views. However, it didn't really have much of an impact on the production of the show, not least of all due to the fact that its creator, Hiroshi Man, seems to have taken the whole ignore the haters mantra and turned it into an art form of sorts, as he casually ducks and weaves every criticism coming his way, and just, you know, he just has that Ohio riz. You guys know how it be?
Yeah, boy, put right there, boy.
That's the real Brody TV right there. Jesus, he's coming out of me. Other than Underflow, the only video I could find about the topic was by a very small creator called Dimes Are Tasty, who decided to audition for a role in the anime. He shows the original voice actor form on the Black the Anime Discord server, which he notes gets rather personal. Given that most of the creators involved are not especially large, it should be no surprise that this never caught all that much traction. But what is rather interesting to note is that despite there not really being much of an outcry from the general public, it seems Nova just couldn't stand to be a part of the project anymore, and on the 14th of March, he would announce on YouTube that he was no longer part of the anime, to the extreme chagrin of all, I'm sure.
Hey y'all, it's Nova Kadri. About 2 to 4 weeks ago, I cut ties with Ohio the Anime. I tried to make an explanation about it, but TikTok took down the video without informing me, so not a lot of people know what happened. So I'm gonna explain a full-length YouTube video of exactly what happened with Ohio the Anime, and yeah. If you guys enjoy videos like this, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and let's get on with the video.
In the video, he gave a succinct explanation for why he had left, as well as a brief history of his time with the production, which goes as follows. Nova had been contacted by the management team, behind the anime back in October, at which point he was pretty much hired on the spot to play the main character.
I'm assuming I joined around back in October when I got a message from one of their managers asking if I wanted to be a part of the anime.
While he was aware of the whole paying to be a voice actor thing, what he hadn't been aware of is that Hiroshi Man had actually been scamming people behind the scenes, often taking their money and never actually giving them a role of any sort, at least according to him.
But what I didn't know is that behind the scenes, Lassen was scamming people. So, for example, obviously I did know about the charging people and all that. But what I didn't know is that he wasn't even contacting the people who were paying for parts in the anime, which is crazy.
He goes on to mention how Hiroshi Man used various celebrities to promote the anime, including Skitsy, the guy behind that one Mr. Beast meme you've probably all seen at this point. He also clarifies that EDP was never actually a part of the production at all, and that the reason behind his inclusion in the promo was just to stir up controversy for the sake of garnering attention on the show. Rather amusingly, he emphatically tells everyone that he's glad he never actually had to interact with EDP, calling him a creep.
And also, may I mention that EDP was never a part of the anime. Frickin' pedophile. But, yeah, may I mention he was never a part of the anime. I have never interacted with him. And I'm very glad I hadn't. Dude's a freaking creep. But having EEP in there was like a setup. And all that.
He brings up a number of different complaints against both the show and the Black to the Anime Discord server, one of which is the fact that the main mod blatantly misused his mod powers, giving mod roles to randos who would go on to do even further abuses of power, ranging from banning him repeatedly for no reason to changing people's nicknames into all kinds of slurs. Hey, that's not funny, guys. That's not funny. Don't laugh. With the top mod doing nothing about it despite slurs supposedly being banned from the server. I mean, it's honestly like a list of non-complaints at this point. It's like Discord stuff. None of this matters at all. Ironically, you seem more upset about his own mod authority being undermined than he did about any of the other things mentioned in the video. He would go on to disclose a particular case of Hiroshi Man shirking his responsibilities as a producer by actively screwing over his voice actors, including one girl whom he ended up paying only a fourth of the salary she was supposed to receive, only to block her when she asked where the rest of it had gone. As the video draws to a close, Nova takes the time to do the one thing he knows best, flipping Hiroshi Man the bird, giving us all a taste of just how much he now hates this man.
And Lastin, if you're watching this, I've got something for you. 2 middle fingers for all the people you've scammed. If I had $1 for every time that you have used someone and scammed someone, I'd probably be rich and can actually afford college. So yeah. Ohio the Anime is a complete joke, guys. If you are following their account, please unfollow them. Honestly, Ohio the Anime is just a waste of time. Anyways, thank you all for watching my little exposing video on Ohio the Anime. It's a complete joke. It's not gonna happen. And when I expose them for they went down the drain.
Overall, this paints a pretty dramatic picture of the entire thing, confirming some of the ill-omened rumors that have been circulating. While it is the most viewed video on his channel, it only barely broke 7,000 views, and it actually has more dislikes than likes, so whatever credit he was hoping to garner by cutting ties with Ohio the Anime clearly didn't work out so well. Still, I suppose it was worth the effort, as he would go on to release a couple more statements on the whole situation, like this one.
You can't make this up. On Lastin's video, it's Nova leaves Ohio the Anime. If you don't know, I cut ties because Lastin was using people and underpaying them. He didn't even pay some people at all. But hey Nova Kadri, signing off.
But the truth is, there was really no path to victory for Nova at this point, as while his TikTok presence did continue to grow, he had basically become a pariah to everyone but his most sheltered and dedicated fans, who are probably people just like him, to be honest. Not helped by the fact that, in the meantime, he had become a hot-button topic on YouTube. In February 2023, prior to Nova officially cutting ties with Ohio the Anime, I can't believe I'm making a video about Ohio the Anime right now, by the way. It's actually over. There came a resurgence of videos being made about Nova, starting in February with a video released by Sensitive Society, which to this day remains one of the largest videos on the subject. It mostly just reiterates all the info we've already discussed, but it did lead to even more negative attention being brought to Nova and his rather creepy behavior, getting over 700,000 views. With this attention came an even more galvanized response, with even more people joining in on the fun and the hatred. Around this time, he would also begin live streaming on YouTube, with his YouTube channel alone containing well over 200 streams as of recording. These streams were usually very quiet, getting a couple dozen views on average maybe, but even in these deeply intimate spaces, you could find trolls perusing the chat, doing everything from calling him a pedo to making fun of him for his weight, usually to some rather amusing reactions from Nova, as he just doesn't know how to take the heat, I guess. Throughout all of this, it seems Nova would come to resent Sensitive Society. Even though Sensitive was hardly the cause of all this trouble, you could argue he was one of the people who brought the most attention to Nova's antics. This would eventually culminate in a quaint bit of drama in its own right. Around a month after releasing his first video on Nova, Sensitive would post another video on him. In this video, he would show a TikTok by a girl who had paid Nova for a cameo, only for Nova to send a 10-second video. After she gave him 1 star out of 5 for the terrible cameo, he messaged her on Discord asking why she had given him such a bad review, and saying he'd rather avoid any bad reviews if possible. He promises to redo the cameo if she rescinds the review, only for him to never get back to her. After showing us the story, Sensitive tells us he decided to try ordering a cameo of his own from Nova, costing him $31. Nova, however, DM'd Sensitive, effectively asking if he thought Nova was stupid, and clarifying that he knew exactly who was asking for the cameo, and that he would not do one for him. After giving him a refund, it seems he cut all communications. But this wouldn't spell the end of their back and forth. While Nova never spoke out publicly against Sensitive Society, maybe because he knew if he ever actually brought attention to those videos, it would lead to even more attention from the general public and trolls and whatever else. Not to mention it would bring the accusations to the attention of the most gullible people in his audience, but he did end up talking about Sensitive Society in closed circles, including his Discord server, where despite the constant raids, his diehard fans would continue to support him no matter what. However, this is where things take kind of a strange turn. For this next part, allow me to introduce you to a content creator named Tapayachu. Tapayachu is a TikTok TikTok creator, around the same size as Nova in popularity. Other than her strikingly good visual appearance, she seems relatively unremarkable on the surface, other than the fact she's occupying a very similar position to Nova, in that most of her videos' comment sections are populated by people who make fun of her or hate her. This is due to a variety of reasons, from her horrendous uploads, which usually comprises of her just sitting on stream and putting no effort into entertaining anyone. But what a lot of people may not realize is that there's actually an impressive depth of lore behind this character, from having an absolutely wild father who goes by Papa Chew on TikTok.
I know my teeth. My teeth are gonna grow back. I'm 58. I'm 58 years old, and I am teething. Right now, I am teething. To
just being a pretty zany personality herself, there's a whole potential Turkey Tom episode worth of lore just behind the surface. For now, though, we'll try to narrow our focus and keep things concise. Some of the things she's arguably the most recognized for go back to her YouTube channel of the same name, some of whose videos are over 5 years old. On it, she posted a 20-minute video detailing her first ever job experience. She would have been 24 around that point. To give you a short summary of the video, she described her experience working at a fast food place, from her hiring to training to actual work, and eventually concluding that she had been fired due to having a really bad manager who had used her body odor as an unfair justification for firing her. While there are some people in the comments who are, somewhat sympathetic, you'll quickly find that most of the people are quite dead set against her and just want to make fun of her because, uh-oh, stinky. As a matter of fact, this video is at the forefront of the many reasons why this content creator has become so reviled, like her unwillingness to do any actual work. As she would go on to mention in many of her videos, she never actually wants to do a regular 9-to-5, and her dream is to become a full-fledged influencer, as is the dream of many, and she's basically enabling herself to never be forced to work on anything ever again. It's not like she's making money from her content endeavors, by the way. Keep that in mind. This, while a fairly important reason for her being disliked, is not the only reason. And a lot of it comes down to her being kind of a nasty person. At some point, she was apparently caught live physically abusing her dog, which may have inflamed the masses more than anything that I just mentioned.
So anybody that wants to post a video saying that I'm racist towards black people and I'm black, that's not racism. I don't consider myself a burnt color. Okay? When you look at things, it's African.
All in all, I think it's clear she's not exactly popular with people. Although, with that being said, she seems somewhat successful with her dream of becoming an influencer, sitting at 300,000 followers, once again on TikTok. If you have 300,000 followers on TikTok, that means you're like a negative human being, in my opinion. But regardless, it's fair to say she's probably one of the most reviled people on the platform, and there's like a big lolcow type following for her. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where our dear protagonist comes back in. In October 2022, Nova would post an innocuous video on his TikTok, supposedly in response to this Tapayachu character talking ill of him on TikTok Live. In it, he would call out Tapayachu on a whole slew of things, claiming that she was racist against Mexicans and Asian people, while also taking the time to do a little soapboxing about how racism is bad.
This is a message to Tofia. Guys, if you don't know who Tofia is, she is a TikToker that has a little less followers than me, but we pretty much make similar content in a sort of way. Guys, Tofia is racist towards Mexicans, and she says horrible stuff about Asians. And Tofia, if you're watching this, I'm calling you out. This is not right. What you are doing is completely wrong, and everybody in this world should be equal. God said that all men are created equal, and therefore, we should all be equal. We should learn to get along in this world, and Tofia, you are not resembling that. So Tofia, if you're watching this, I cannot believe all the stuff that I have seen about you, and I'm sorry, but I'm no longer a fan of yours.
You may think it ironic that a man with such skeletons in his closet would ever dare to call out anyone for doing something supposedly morally bankrupt, and you would be quite correct. Somewhat unsurprisingly, this led to a bit of a back and forth between these two, with Tapaya speaking out against him regularly on TikTok, presumably because she could never be bothered to make actual videos about it, for all the effort that might take. In fact, here's what she had to say immediately after the first video, in which she ragged on Nova for following minors on TikTok, the whole diaper business thing, and generally conversing with minors. She just viewed that as a bad thing and called him out for it.
On about Nova. If we're gonna be real, if we're going to be honest, if we're going to be real, you are 19 following people 10 years younger than you were on TikTok. There's a whole video of you that's going viral on YouTube that someone sent me, right? You was on video call with a 14-year-old. You literally showed minors yourself wearing like a diaper. If we're going to be real, saying that that's your kink, that you enjoy wearing diapers. I mean, to each their own. You suck on a binky. You do age regression, which I get some people say that it's a trauma thing, but not for him. comes on the internet, scams people by not completing cameos, and then complains when someone leaves a negative review.
I mean, she was kind of correct here, but it's better if you hold off on siding with her for a little bit. Don't get too invested, okay? Tapayachu bros, hold your horses, okay? Don't invest yet. Let's get the context. In a clip from another live stream, she tells everyone how Nova got so angry during a stream that he just left it, which she understandably treated with quite a bit of humor. She also takes a few more jabs at him, saying how upset he would be if she got any more followers than him.
He didn't even say what he wanted to say. He didn't even get to say what he wanted to say. They literally ran him off of Station Head. Like, he got so mad that he left. Was it you? Because I'm sorry that I laughed a little, I giggled. But whoever did that, you're a menace to society. I'm gonna tell you that, because he could not handle what you was telling him, and he ran right off of Station Head. He was like, F this, I'm leaving. I was just like, bro, and it was not me. I wanted to hear what he had to say. Like, I didn't get to hear it. I wanted to hear what he had to say. You're a menace. I'm invested in him. No, he's invested in me. So don't say I'm invested in him. He talks about me every day on that Discord. And about how famous they are. He's gonna be mad when I get more followers than him.
At this point, what followed was a whole lot of flinging from both sides.
Is it Tapaya? I thought it was Tapayachu. Oh, it's Tofiachu? So I need to re-record every fucking...
Okay, I guess from this point in the video forward, apparently it's Tofiachu and not Tapayachu. Why are these people's names so weird? Okay, it's Tofiachu. Oh, my name's Tofiachu. What a stupid name, by the way, okay? It is your fault for me mispronouncing it because your name is so stupid, so foolish. At this point, what followed was a whole lot of flinging from both sides, with Tofia throwing shade at Nova for his PDF file accusations and diaper fetish, while Nova would go on to insist how he's so much better than Tofia because of his hygiene and the fact he can actually hold a job. This would go on for several months, with varying levels of severity, during which the only people who genuinely sided with one or the other were their very small, respective fan bases, while everyone else just looked on from both sides to enjoy the trash fire that this was.